Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another Ripple XRP video. This one is going to be very special. We have a couple of very important topics to discuss, and if you guys are excited for that, make sure you press that like button, as right now XRP is by far my favorite cryptocurrency. Having said that, I want you guys to comment down below what country in the world you're watching this video from, purely for fun. You guys probably know I read every single comment, and I've noticed my audience is really divided, the XRP community is really divided, but I just find it fun to see where you're all from. Then again, don't be too specific with like your city or your address. There's some weird people out there. Not you guys, but there are some weird people out there, you know? So make sure you're careful with that. Having said that, I want to start off with the most important and most breaking news for right now, which comes from Eleanor Tourette. So this is what she just put over on Twitter. In case anyone read this and thought it was true, a Ripple spokesperson just confirmed to me that the rumors related to an imminent settlement are inaccurate. This is a very important piece of information. Today in the XRP community, this went trending. And I always want to remind you guys, if you want the best updates on Ripple, XRP, lawsuit news, all that, check this channel. I'm telling you guys, make sure you have the notification bell on. I put videos on the channel regarding crypto news, XRP news specifically, ADA news specifically, Vici news specifically, whatever. You can always ignore them though if you don't like it, but make sure you have the notification bell on. What if all of a sudden there's a settlement and you weren't notified? You're gonna most likely, let me not say exactly what would most likely happen to some people. Maybe that's a little bit too dark, but let me say it like this. You don't want to miss it, and it can happen at any single time. But if you don't see me live streaming butt naked on some crazy beach while that is happening, there's a problem. So I don't really understand how people go so crazy with these tweets and engage so much with it. This is what happened. Boom. Ripple and the SEC have reached a settlement agreement. One of these sources added that the official announcement about the deal will be made next week. I am telling you, if the Dusty BC doesn't cover it on the channel, it is most likely inaccurate because, as I said, I'll be okay, it's Dubai. I will not be butt naked, but I'm going to try to do something crazy, and I'll most likely start screaming in your ears on this channel. Just go live and start screaming into my microphone. You know, no context, no title, just start screaming. That's why you need to have your notification bell on. So again, that should already be a dead giveaway. But Jeff here said, you got to stop posting BS news sites. It's important. Some people say, Dusty, your job is so easy. Kind of, you know, I definitely don't consider it a job. I consider it something I like to do. But I've also noticed it takes some sort of skill to recognize what articles are posted by legit websites, which ones aren't, to kind of make a story around it. Still potentially a difficult thing for quite a lot of people, I've noticed. And also to kind of weed out which parts of an article are important and which ones aren't. And in this case here, I checked the article. I'm thinking instantly, this is the stupidest thing I've ever read. You know, not built properly, just doesn't make a lot of sense. You can see from the structure, it's something which you just don't cover, don't share over on Twitter or something like that because it's stupid. People shouldn't waste their time with this. Yet it got 2,000 likes, 660 retweets, 300 people engaging with it. So you got to stop posting from BS news sites. The author doesn't have social media presence and their profile picture is fake. Well, the website just looks, I digress. Site is probably fake. And the site is quoting a XRP/Ripple parody Twitter account, so okay, you know what? Appreciate the plant, please, guys. That's the only positive, growing, beautiful thing I'm seeing right here in front of me. You know, maybe the door as well looks pretty cool. But appreciate the plant. You know, every single. How do I? There we go. Appreciate the plant. It's doing good. For anybody who wants an update on the plant, you know, it's still there. I will not remove it for a couple more days or never. If you guys, you know. Make sure you press that like button. Point being, settlement talks are fake. It's been confirmed. Let's not waste too much time on this. All right, so this specific article here was Linda P. Jones, who said, where's the Ripple lawsuit? Where is it? I've lost it. It's gone! So what that is mostly about, this is actually rather funny, is when she checked the SEC website, she couldn't find a Ripple v. SEC lawsuit. And I was kind of amazed, I'm not going to lie. I'm thinking, what does that mean? And a couple of people in the comment section were saying, I checked 2021, 2020, 2020, whatever, 20 or whatever. Couldn't find Ripple Labs. Oh, my days. I don't know. I honestly don't know what it means, but when checking through the comments, a lot of people are saying, when checking the Wayback Machine, it was never there. When looking for a library, it ain't there. And so I have absolutely no idea if this is important or not. Linda says, could be they're waiting for an opportunity now at the end of the lawsuit and add liquidity to retail side of XRP. Listen to my interview on Digital Perspectives today and find out. I honestly don't think that makes a lot of sense. However much I'd like it to be, right? You guys and I are most likely on the exact same note. We'd like the Ripple v. SEC lawsuit to be over because Ripple clearly has the better edge. We'll talk about that in just a second. I can think of a dozen reasons straight out of my head here which showcase why Ripple has a 99% probability of just winning this straight up and why the SEC most likely has already given up, but I digress. I just don't think that these hints which people are sharing are with the real deal. However much I'd like it to be true, I would like to more focus on the real lawsuit facts rather than speculation in the background of things which are hinting towards it. What I mean with that is, whenever we watch a video of Gary Gensler announcing they're going to lose a couple of things, I see that as canon. I see that as very important because him showing a lot of weakness in that, it's factual evidence that they're kind of backing out from some perspective. If we're finding on the SEC website they've changed policy to state that they are doing this litigation to help the crypto ecosystem, that is canon. I want to see that. I think that's important. If something disappeared, however, it can be 1,001 different reasons as to why it did. And again, it seems to have never disappeared. It seems to have never been on there in the first place, some people said. So I can't really deduce anything from there. It could be an error. It could mean something. But that's, again, like Riddlers. Could. With the Gary Gensler stuff, I believe that that's like backing yourself, not into a corner, but basically backing yourself into a lot of different ways out. If you're saying, oh, we're going to definitely lose a couple of cases here for the betterment of crypto or something like that, it's like you're openly saying, well, I'm trying some stuff, don't know what's going to work, and I'm warning y'all, the SEC doesn't always win. Even though we've claimed that we always try to win and we are so good, we don't always win just before you lose. But again, don't get overhyped. Don't see too many things and things which aren't necessarily there because you're going to make yourself crazy. Important, all right? Important. Now, before we go over into a couple of reasons as to what John said, as the world awaits the court's decision on the fairness defense, journalists and analysts preparing to cover the next crucial stage of the SEC v. Ripple can get a full picture in the video library on why it is so crucial to crypto holders everywhere. It is composed only of what the SEC and key market participants said publicly in their own words before, during, and after the SEC's enforcement action on XRP. Judge for yourselves if you see fair notice, a level playing field, and any credibility for this regulatory agency here. My thoughts, and this is very important once more, the SEC doesn't have shizzle. All right, they don't got jack shit. Yeah. I don't think they got a leg to stand on. John Deaton shares it everywhere. But remember for yourself, this is so critical. The fair notice defense will most likely be Ripple's best shot at just handling all this stuff quickly, very briefly, just very easy, like a freaking snap, like a snapping turtle, like that. Why? Well, if you didn't really warn them, they couldn't have known. And again, there's a very big difference between Ripple knew or they should have known. If you knew something, doesn't mean, or you thought you knew something, doesn't mean that's the law. Again, if you're doing some criminal stuff, for example, this is my thinking process, yet the law has never said that it's not something you are allowed to do, and you already thought, what I'm doing is pretty shady, but you asked, is it shady? They said, we don't really know. You're thinking, oh my God, this is like a loophole to life. You're thinking, what is this? And all of a sudden, years later, after you've been doing that same stuff for so many years, yeah, I'm thinking in my head as well. You after like 3 years, you're thinking, man, you can't all of a sudden after 8 years of operating be like, wait a minute. You try to ask me questions about whether or not what you were doing was right. We didn't have a response. We didn't know. But in hindsight, we're thinking, no, you should have actually known 8 years ago when we didn't know until like just now. You should have known, and you're like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Yeah, no, you should have known. You should have totally known. It was like the most obvious thing, even though we didn't know. You should have definitely known that, so we're going to fine you $1 billion. You're like, what? Excuse me, I asked you. What was the kid? You're like, no. When you asked us, we didn't know yet. But before that, like 5 years before that, you should have known. Like, what? Excuse me? Sorry? How then? Am I supposed to see the future? Is there like supposed to be like a mirror which I can look into to see the future? So I should have known that you would have maybe thought about something else which I should have known in the past, which you didn't know yet, which I should have taken from your head and planted in my brain? Yeah. Interesting, it's definitely interesting. But John Deaton here shares a lot of facts about why the case was death on arrival. Again, I did not know what that meant until I looked it up. Not a native English speaker, so, I use Google, all right? I use Google. I'm busted. All right, but I might make a separate video about every single thing that John Deaton shared here because it would take another 50 minutes to cover every single thing, I think. What he mostly does is just point out a lot of different reasons as to why the SEC is kind of on a path towards the downside. I don't know, like they're their own downwards moving spiral of just adding things on top of each other which don't really form a coherent story. What I mean with that is they've tried their best, I think, to sue Ripple to the best of their ability and to make up a story as to why what Ripple is doing is wrong and why the guys like Barry Garlinghouse and Chris Larson were doing something wrong, yada, yada, yada. But they're basing that upon so many facts which don't make sense. And the most critical example I can give you is, again, the fair notice that we just talked about. But that actually goes a layer deeper because it also is about the fact that it's not only that Ripple should have known, right? It's also that SEC members right now should all be on the same note, all be on the same path of saying, yeah, Bitcoin, ETH, that was done this way, that was done this way. XRP, that should be done this way. They should all be on the same side. If there's some confusion within the commission, you're automatically failing. And as we've seen right now, a lot of these guys are on a completely different path with their ideas, and that just really shouldn't be the way. Another couple of parts come about the fact that Jim McCaleb is still allowed to sell, which again doesn't make a lot of sense. The same sense that MoneyGram was allowed to sell, same sense that Ripple is still selling. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for them to not stop that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out this video, for example. It's not clear with XRP as a security to Brett Redfern, SEC Director of Division of Trading and Markets, on June 6th, 2018. He already knows ETH is about to get a free pass. Listen closely. It's almost as if Bob already knows Ripple will be sued. So what happens in this small little video is they basically ask him about XRP and ETH, and he basically says, well, one of the two is going to get some regulation soon, which again, it didn't, because officially, if you remember carefully here, the only thing which happened was that a speech was made regarding Ethereum, which again wasn't supposed to be clarity, and XRP didn't really get any help whatsoever in this time, 2018 anywhere. It was only until a couple years later that all of a sudden the actual questions came, or the answers, which again are not really answers, came. But at the time, nothing really was known. The market really wasn't involved or informed. All right, and if you're still wondering about the question, could Ripple beat the SEC? I honestly think so. I honestly think there's a 99% chance that it's going to happen this year with a crazy 10x return and the same note, which is why I'm so excited about it. And remember, governments right now are trying to explore crypto, and the best way for them, it seems like, is to just kind of try a lawsuit to see exactly the way that the US ground fundamental rules stand on crypto, and base it upon that and further it from there. The way that Gary Gensler has worded his speech recently, I still believe very much so that they're doing this case purely to set a basis for all crypto regulation on here on forward, and there's a very high probability that Ripple will win, the fair notice defense will hold up, and that most other crypto companies will use it too. Yet again, it needed to be set in stone by a judge how crypto should be regulated, because as we said before, the SEC has two ways to make new laws and new rules. Rulemaking process through litigation, or the, I'm going to call it, other lengthy process. There's a lot of different steps which come in that, but the SEC doesn't really make rules or laws themselves. They always go through another party, another road, and they always take long. It could be that they saw this as the easier option because the judge has to make the majority of the decisions, and maybe it's set in stone in a better way. Maybe they were just like, you know what? We don't know how to go about crypto. Let's just sue a company. Okay, you know what? Let's get some wheels spinning. Pick a coin. We're gonna sue them and see what happens. And then the other was like, should we do Bitcoin? No, no, that's too no. ETH? No, no, we gave that a free pass, sort of. So let's not double it. We're making too much money on that. The third XRP. Then people were like, yeah, 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 and everybody's like, okay, I don't, yeah, sure. Wait a minute, but that got some regulation in the past. We had some. We didn't warn them. It was like, who cares? What's gonna happen? Then what's gonna happen to us? And they were like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, yeah. And then the lawsuit came. The day later, it's like, oh, Jay Clayton as well was like, but guys, I'm like leaving tomorrow, so, or I'm leaving in like a couple weeks because they're of course drafting everything a couple months prior. I'm leaving pretty soon. Are you sure about this? And they're like, why not? Looking at each other like, and everybody's like, yeah, why not? Okay. They're like, sure, okay. Lawsuit filed. Day afterwards, Jay Clayton leaves because he's thinking, okay, go figure it out then, guys. So much fun stuff. So much fun stuff. Always a fun little journey. But remember, governments have unintentionally created a perfect environment for Bitcoin/crypto to thrive. Crypto will most likely keep doing well. One of the fun parts which we're seeing right now is that cross-border transactions, they're such an important realm to fix. XRP, of course, fixes that problem greatly. So they still abide by regulations, though, of course. Bitcoin from another area, but it still fixes the problem as well. It's critical for this quote-unquote newer world that we are entering into. And so I'll keep sharing whenever I have some juicy crypto news to cover. Remember, the only way for XP is up. David Schwartz knows it. And see you guys again in another one. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed it. And have the notification bell on if you want to succeed in life. That's all.